It is hard for me to believe that in just 2 months, I am going to be out there in full swing in the garden and be overwhelmed with the amount of garden tasks that I have to do. One of the hardest months for me out of the year is February. And that I think is just because it can get pretty cold here in February. Normally January is the really cold month, and then February is the really snowy month. And by the end of February, I'm kind of just done. March gives a lot of promise. Like today is very cold. This morning it was -8 when I woke up, which is very cold. But next week we're supposed to get all the way up to 45 or 50 during the day, which just feels like spring. So you start getting those little snippets of spring is coming, and so I have on my mind the garden and all the things to do there. And so today we're going to be discussing tomatoes. I'm going to share with you the varieties that I'm doing this year and the amount that I'm starting. I'm going to give you a couple of things that have helped me over the years with tomatoes, and then we will get them started together down in the basement where I start all of my seeds. So first off is all of the different varieties that I have. All of these come from M.I. Gardener. I have enjoyed starting his seeds. They seem really good and they seem to germinate well, and they're very good price. These are only $2 each, which is wonderful. So first one is that I'm going to start is going to be the Crimson Sprinter. And I started this for the first time a couple of years ago. And what I like about this one is that it is the first one to be ready to pick. Last year or the year before, I can't remember, I had this ready at the very end of July, which is very early for Vermont. We don't get it till beginning of August, middle of August, tomatoes start coming. So it's just nice to have something that is sooner than the rest of them. It's kind of an all-purpose tomato. You can slice it, you can use it for sauces, you can use it for all kinds of things if you want to do that. Next is I'm going to do keep 2 of those for myself and have 10 of them to sell for the farm stand. Then I have the Martino's Roma. It's always good to have a Roma tomato. They're fine to eat, but they're specifically for sauces and for salsas. They are really good producers as well. They're pretty compact for the most part, so they're not huge. They're bushy like they should be, but they're not huge. I'm keeping 4 of these for myself and then having 16 for the farm stand. Then I have beefsteak. Beefsteak is just a great classic tomato to have around. Best for sandwiches and just like eating. My kids will just sometimes grab a big tomato and just bite into it like they would bite into an apple. So this one I'm doing 4 for myself and 12 for the farm stand. Next is this yellow brandy wine. I have never done this one before, so I don't know what to expect, but I kind of just wanted a colorful tomato just for the sake of having a colorful tomato, to be honest with you. So I'm only keeping 2 of these for myself and only do 4 from the farm stand. It's just for fun, really. A Cherokee tomato. I will put a picture on the screen because I did not bring up my little container of seeds. But I love this one because it looks like a beefsteak. It's like got that big kind of heirloom look, but it's got the purple in it. And I just think it's so pretty. Again, a nice slicing tomato, nice to just eat with salads and sandwiches and that kind of stuff. I just love the color of it. I think it's so beautiful. And I have 2 of those for myself again, and 4 for the farm stand. Not very many, again, just to kind of have around because they're fun. And then the last, these were really fun last year. Cherry tomatoes. They are a mixed variety. So they're not mixed all on the plant, but when you plant the seed, you don't know which color of plant you're getting. So it will be either purple, red, orange, yellow, or green, which I think is just really fun. It's just they're all cherry tomatoes. They all look the same. They all taste the same. It's just fun. And so I'm keeping 4 of these for myself, which will be more than enough that I need. And then 20 plants are gonna go on the farm stand. The popular ones from the farm stand the last couple of years specifically have been Roma tomatoes. I think a lot of people like Roma tomatoes because they're familiar with them and they seem doable. And they are doable because you can put them right in a pot and they grow really easily. Beefsteak has always been really popular, again, because I think it's a variety that people know and they know that they like because they grab it from the grocery store. And then I think everybody really loves cherry tomatoes. They're just kind of fun to have around. And I have in years previous, I don't think I'm gonna do it this year, but in years previous, I have put plants into hanging baskets of cherry tomatoes and let them grow over the sides. And that was really fun too. So tomatoes, you normally start 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date. So find your last frost date, Google it, whatever your zip code is, plus last frost date to find that out. Go out 6 to 8 weeks, and you can still start tomatoes if you are still within that range. I would suggest adding another 2 weeks to that. I'm not saying you can't do it if you're 6 weeks out. You definitely could, but I would suggest going 10 weeks if you're planning ahead. And the reason for that is just sometimes things just don't work the way you think they're gonna work. So it gives you a little bit of a buffer. But then I'm also specifically doing it 10 weeks out because I want them to be big and bushy for the farm stand. So I have a little bit of a different motivation there when it comes to selling them to other people. So I'm getting them started today. And once they grow up to be, I think probably about 5 inches tall-ish, downstairs, they'll get a little bit like tight for the grow lights. Like they'll be trying to reach the grow lights and you don't want them too near the grow lights because then the leaves will start burning. So that's when I know that I'm gonna bring them upstairs and I'm gonna start taking them out to the greenhouse during the day, bringing them back in at night. Most likely it's gonna be too cold at night to keep them out there all the time. It's an unheated greenhouse, but I can bring them out during the day when the greenhouse is, 60, 70, probably 80 degrees, get some good growth on them. And then in about a month, maybe about 5 weeks, they are gonna be ready to pot up. And I will put them into 2-inch containers that I have for the ones that are going on the farm stand, but then the ones that are just for me, I put just into yogurt cups, and I will keep those for myself. One tip that I have only done last year that worked really, really well is that when I planted my tomato plants out, I put crushed eggshells at the bottom of the hole before I put the plant in. And they were so much bushier and bigger and healthier than I have probably ever had. Now, last year, I've said this 20 times in different videos, but I was pregnant and we had a drought. So everything suffered last year. The tomatoes suffered, but it wasn't their fault. It was totally my fault. But all of the plants were just gorgeous. They were huge, they were beautiful. You will also want to be prepared to stake your tomatoes in some way. You could get tomato cages, which work great. You can also get just a stake that you're going to drive into the ground, and then you will kind of gently tie it to the stake as it grows up. You could tie it with ripped up pieces of a t-shirt. You can also go on Amazon, and there are all kinds of like plastic hooks that you can hook the tomato to the post, those kinds of things. I wouldn't use any type of tight string like twine, because that could potentially make a little indent into the tomato, could mess up part of the stem, but then also could potentially make it fall over if it ends up flopping too much, if it ends up being too tight, whatever. So I wouldn't go that route. But there's lots of different options to be able to keep them upright. You can also put stakes at the end of your row, and then have chicken wire or some type of pig hog wire going down between those two stakes. And then you just plant the tomatoes right next to that wire. And as they grow up, you pinch them to the wire with your plastic grip you're going to use, or with something soft that you're going to use to keep it going up. And you can plant them a lot closer that way as well, because they're going to be going up and not so much out. So that will give you a little bit more space. Every year for the last several years, I have just put a stake into the ground and moved them right along. And I've kind of done experiments over the years of, is it better to pinch or not pinch your tomatoes? And it's hard to say exactly what the result is, because every year with the weather is different. I really should do an experiment on the same year and see if they end up the same. It's more so the results that you're looking for. If you pinch, the fruit that grows will end up being bigger fruit and bulkier fruit. If you don't pinch, you will not have as big a fruit, but you will have more fruit. So it really depends on which one that you're interested in doing, and what result that you want from that. Last year and this coming year, I am not going to pinch anything. I am just going to let them grow and let them go wild and let them do their thing. It takes a little bit more work on my part to keep it like that, to try to kind of like keep it contained, but it really does end up a little bit better result. And honestly, when I'm in there pinching, sometimes I can go a little bit too far with it. It's a little bit of a temptation, and do a little bit too much. So I'm just gonna let them go this year and just keep them caged in and contained for the most part. So let's go get some tomatoes started down in the basement. Here we are in my Vermont basement getting these tomatoes started. Obviously not on the same day that I was planning, but that is okay because that's the way that life goes. So I have my pre-moistened potting soil that I'm going to put these tomato seeds in. I did use potting soil, not seed starting mix. I'm putting them in 50 cell count trays. They're about 2 inches deep or so. Do not forget to label all of your different varieties of tomatoes. You will think you will remember what they are, and you will not. And until they get bigger, they all look the same. So don't forget to do that. These will go on heat mats, and they will have plastic wrap over top of them. This is my budget way of doing a humidity dome. I expect them to germinate in the next 7 to 10 days. I'm curious which varieties you're most interested in starting this season. We will see you in the next video.